Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 60 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to make clear stamp storage, and since we just started to buy some clear stamps, I figured it's a good time to go ahead and get your storage set up, and this may be one way that works for you. It works for me great. I've tried lots of different ways. I do not like to keep my stamps in their packaging. The only problem with that is that then you may not know who's made your stamps. So if you are going to use something to submit to a magazine or something and you're going to stamp on there, you'll need to know the company that made your stamps and what their angel policy is. But other than that, I just don't. I have so many stamps that I bought in D-stashes that I have no clue where they came from or who made them, that it doesn't really do me a lot of good to keep track of who made my stamps. But the way that you are going to put these in here, you can write down the maker of your stamps. So what we're going to start with is we need a 1-inch binder or larger. We need some of our cardstock. We need some index dividers and some double-sided tape, a hole punch. And so to start with, this is how we're going to make them. Take your divider, okay, and then you're going to put your cardstock behind your divider, line it up, and punch the holes in your cardstock to match your divider. This is a very easy way to do it, and I find it a great way to store my stamps. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we are going to put that in our binder. So we're going to take that and put it in here, just like that. Okay, now we're going to take our stamps out of their packaging. And the one thing that I found with these Hampton Art stamps is this is not I don't know how I want to say it. The double-sided tape doesn't want to stick to this really well, so we're going to put double-sided tape on it, and we are going to put glue on it also. We're just going to take our clear stamps out of there. Now you can use these bags for gifting to people. You can use these backing pages for tags. So don't throw those away. You can keep those for other purposes. And then what we're going to do is we are going to open up our plastic and set our clear stamps on our page. Now, these are really close together, and I don't quite like that. Now, I can kind of go off the edge here. I guess I could do that. I can go off the edge of the white paper. That's okay. It's not going to make much of a difference. And when I was telling you that you could keep track of who made your stamps, we are going to attach this to our clear cover, and then the white cardstock is going to be behind it. So you could write on your cardstock, you could write Hampton Arts, right behind your stamp, so that you know that these stamp sets were made by Hampton Art. So if you want to keep track, and if you're buying all your own stamps, that might be a good way to keep track of who made your stamps in case you ever want to use them for something where you'll need to know who made that stamp. Or if somebody asks you, where did you get that stamp, who made it? And now what I'm going to do is picture side up, sitting on our white cardstock with our plastic over here, we are just going to put some double-sided tape. The double-sided tape sticks great to the plastic here, but it doesn't like this particular one that Hampton Art uses to put their stamps on. So normally that's all I do is put the plastic on there, or put the tape on there. But because it doesn't like to stick super well, I'm going to just put just a little dab of glue between each of the pieces of tape. That should be good. And then I'm going to put tape on this other one. And I don't know what it is about these picture sides. The tape just really doesn't like to stick to them super well. But it does hold it good enough while you're waiting for your glue to dry. We're going to do that and put a little bit of glue on that one. And I put my glue in a little bit from the edge so that it doesn't squish out the sides. And then all you're going to do is decide exactly where you want that. Don't get them too close to your rings, otherwise they don't turn well. And then you're just going to take your plastic and press it down to the tape, smush that glue around a little bit. And because I didn't press that tape down really good on my stamp set, I just kind of set it on there. I'm going to press really well so that it sticks to this and sticks to the underneath part. Just get those pressed on there really well. And there we go. Now, hopefully once these dry, that glue will hold it better. So this is what your pages look like then when you open up your book. There's a lot of glare on there. Let's see. That helps a little bit. So, but when you open up your book, you can see all of the stamps that you have. And then with the white cardstock behind it, because your clear stamps like to stick to plastic. So I usually remove this piece of plastic, but again, on these Hampton Arts, my stamps are actually sticking to this harder plastic more than they're sticking to the front plastic. So I don't want them to just fall off in my book. I can leave them like this. Whoops. But see, they're really sticking to this back piece of plastic. So I can leave them on there like that. And this is how I normally have mine. They're just stuck to their picture cover. And then just when I open it up, I say, oh, and actually what I'm going to do is, because we've got our pictures, I'll say, I want that dragonfly and I want that sun. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take off that dragonfly and I'm going to take off that sun and I'm going to go use them. Now, important part, because the more stamps you get, the more that this is very important. So it's a good habit to get into right from the start. I've taken off 2 stamps from this stamp set. What I do is I use these little flags and I just keep these inside the little front cover of my book. If you don't have this little pocket, you can just take them off their plastic and just stick them across the top of your book. And I say, okay, I've taken 2 stamps off of there, so I'm going to stick right out the top of my book. I'm going to take 2 of these little tabs and I'm going to stick them on there like that. Now I'm going to go do my stamping and I'm going to get my book out of the way. But after I've washed these and I'm ready to put them away, I'm going to go, okay, let me see, 2 stamps right here. Oh, here's those 2 stamps. Because the thing is, you're not always going to take your stamps from the same set. You might take a couple from here, one from here, some from back here. And the more books that you have, you know, the easier it is to know that, okay, I've got some sticking out of this book, I've got some sticking out of this book, and so you pull those books all out, you go to your tabs and you say, okay, which ones go there? Those 2 go there. My other ones go over here. My other ones go in the next book. But instead of, otherwise, you're going through every page of every book that you have, trying to figure out where that stamp goes that you took out. So that's just a really good habit to get into. And then when I'm done, when I put the stamps back, I just take these off and stick them inside my front cover. And I use them over and over until they're just not sticky anymore. And then I just use new ones. So this is how I store my stamps. Now, the other thing that you can do with this is you can take your whole stamp, the stamps that you put here, ink this all up, and then carefully take it, place it down on your white paper, and press it down. And that is going to stamp all of these images right on your white paper. And that way you will know exactly what everything is supposed to be on this stamp pad. Now this one has a picture. Again, I have a bunch from D-Stashes that just came just like they are. I don't have any pictures for them. So those ones, when you stick them in your book, let's take the sun off and stick it right here. Okay, I have this little stamp here, but what is it? I have to look at it really closely. I have to go to the other side and look at it, and especially ones that are in writing, because they're written backwards, you know, it's hard to tell what they are. So if I were to have that loose stamp, because I just got it from somebody, I would take that loose stamp, I would ink it up, and then I would go over here and just press it down. Now I know when I go to put them away and I have a tab there and I'm looking for where does this stamp go, I know that it goes right there because that's where that had been stamped, and now I have that little sun mark right there on my white paper. So those are good ways to keep track of your stamps, and like I said, you know, they're all in here. They stay really nicely. I really don't have any problems with them falling out. And now this one I've glued down, but I just did that recently too. But this one here, it just has 2 pieces of the double-sided tape on it, and it is stuck on there. It's not coming off. But these ones, whoops, I'm sorry. This one is not coming off. 2 pieces of double-sided tape, that's it. And that's how really all of this is the first time I've ever put any glue on my picture sheet. Because this picture sheet just didn't want to stick. But then, and you can do them any way that you want to. If you have a lot of loose ones, what I will do is like maybe put all of my flowers on one page and all of my sentiments on another page and all of my little tiny stamps on another page, especially with the loose ones that I have. And then I have binders that are just flowers, binders that are just well, I call it verbiage, but just words and sayings, and I put that on the spine of my binder so I know what's in that binder. So, but as you're starting, you can just put them all together like this. And we got 5, there was 5 of these dividers. Now, the blue and the red are quite dark, so they don't show the pictures as well. So if, you know, if they don't work for that, keep those 2 out and use those for cutting stencils. And just when you get enough that you need some more, just get some more of these and just use the orange and the green and the yellow. Or if you can find clear ones, most of mine are clear. You can use the clear ones. The ones at the Dollar Tree, I think they're colored, but they're lighter colors. So this is a good way to store your stamps. And then these are really nice. I got this one from the Dollar Tree, but it's nice that you've got a spot where you can slip a page into the front so you can make it look pretty. And I thought that I would probably slide this over to the side and cut another piece of cardstock that would fit right here and write clear stamps on there. And so then I know what's in here, and then decorate this page kind of like decorating this page. Now this is my wax colors. I just love them. I really do. You know, they just have that nice little sheen to them, and I wanted to make sure that I could stamp on them. So this is our stamping ink, the orange and the red, and then I wanted to make sure my pens worked. So that's black permanent marker, that's our metallic permanent marker, brown permanent marker. These are our glitter pens around the centers. And so everything that I wrote on there with worked really well. And then you can just take that and slide it in the front. And I could even just slide this one over like this. See, and then write clear stamps right down there on that part. And then I could cut off another sheet. You can actually slide into this part here. Right from the top, you can slide a long skinny piece, so you could put clear stamps on there, or if you're going to separate them, you could put flower stamps in, you know, and put a little piece in there. Flower stamps, butterfly stamps, you know, if you have lots of them and you have them separated that way. But I love this. I think that it works great, and it's just a really easy way to look through all of your stamps, especially if you have a lot of them, instead of trying to go through like bins or whatever. But you just flip the page. Sorry about all the glare, but you just flip the page and say, oh, I want that one and I want this one. And then remember, when you take them off, don't forget to put your little flags up there, and then just turn it and say, oh, but I like that sentiment right there, so we're going to take that sentiment off, and then we're going to put a tag on there. So, and then you can just flip through your book. And again, we don't have a lot, but you know, they do seem easy to come by. So it seems like, you know, once you start collecting something, that you get a lot. So this is a really nice way to start. You know, get a good start and just make it a habit of putting them in like that, and then you'll always be able to find what you're looking for. You may have to look through 3 or 4 books, but they're there, they're easy to see, and they're easy to put away. You just, once they're washed, you just come back and just stick it right where it goes. You can stamp them on this side, and like I said, the way that I stamp them, if I stamp them, is I put them where they go on this sheet, then I put some ink on it, and then I just take this carefully, line, and then just push it down. And then I know that that stamp because it's now I've got the imprint, that stamp goes right there, coordinating with where it's stamped on the white page. So that is our stamp storage. Very simple, very easy to do. I love the way that they work. The nice thing is you just set them up on a bookshelf and or just, get a couple little bookends, and you can make them look pretty. And it's a really easy way to keep track of your stamps. Also with the tabs, you could, like with this one, because it's got these two Hampton Arts on here, I could right here, I could just put Hampton Arts. They do come with, when you get your binders, they come with these little tabs that fit right in there, and I could just write Hampton Art right on there and just slide it in so I know that my Hampton Art stamps are there, So, I hope that you like this storage. It's a very nice, easy storage, and I really enjoyed bringing this to you because this was one thing I had a hard time with, was storing my clear stamps until I came up with this system. And for me, this is a great system. For you, this might not work. You might like to keep them in their packaging and, and put them in, like people buy like the egg bins, and then they stand them all up and then they flip through them this way. And that might be something that you like to do. So just, you can look around and see what kind of storage, but it's good now that you're starting to buy clear stamps and you've got ink pads. It's good to know how are you going to store them and start storing them that way right away. So for next week, what we are going to need is we are going to need some white paint. So I picked up 2 of these 2 fluid ounces for 50 cents a piece at Walmart. So that's $1. We are going to need, this came from the Dollar Tree. It's a 2-in-1 foot file, and it has a grater on it, and that's what you're looking for, is a grater. The other side has sandpaper, but it's the grater that you're looking for. So we're looking for a grater with really tiny grates in it. And we are going to need a package of chalk, and this came from Walmart for 96 cents. So we have $1, $2, $3, and this is what we're going to need for next week. We'll leave our other $2 in our bank, in our savings, and next week we are going to make gesso, and also chalk paint. So that's what we're going to do for next week, or colored gesso, I guess you could call it. But and also I just wanted to mention, when I bought this, the 2 fluid ounces were 50 cents. They also had an 8 fluid ounce bottle for $2.50. So if you are going to buy more, don't buy the large bottle for $2.50 because that's 8 ounces. You can buy 8 ounces this way for $2, and then you can leave them sealed until you're ready to use them, versus opening up the large bottle and it's already open and then having it maybe start to get hard on you. So, always check, your prices, being 50 cents for 2 ounces. For $2.50, I could get 10 ounces if I bought them all in little bottles. And like I said, you can leave them capped until you're ready to use them. So that's what we will need for next week. And I hope that you enjoyed the stamp storage system. I really like the way that it works. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.